From WBUR Boston and NPR, I'm Jane Clayson in for Tom Ashbrook, and this is On Point. Maybe you can't resist checking your smartphone for the news at dinner time, falling asleep playing World of Warcraft, or binge watching entire seasons of TV in one day. Well, you're not alone. More and more, the internet is making its way into every moment of daily life. And people are having trouble stepping away, even getting treatment for what many consider an addiction. China already has hundreds of internet detox centers, many of which are run like boot camps. This hour on Point, the addictive power of the internet. You can join us on air or online. Do you fall into a black hole when you go online? Do you prefer your virtual life to your real life? Are you addicted? Join us anytime at onpointradio.org or on Twitter and Facebook at onpointradio. Joining me first today from New York City is Shosh Shlam. She is co-writer, director, and producer of the POV documentary Web Junkie, which follows three boys through a rehabilitation center in China set up to treat internet addiction. It premieres tonight on PBS. Shosh Shlam, welcome to On Point.
Hello.
So nice to have you. So tell us what you found at these internet detox centers in China.
China, as you mentioned, is the first one and the only one to declare it as an addiction. And you consider an addict when you use any screen, not only games, more than 6 hours a day. China is very concerned about this extreme phenomena that sees it as a threat on Chinese society and opened more than 400 rehab centers or boot camps all around China. When I decided to make a film about the dark side of the internet, I heard that one of the kids in one of these boot camps was beaten to death. So I thought that the perfect place to bring up this subject will be China. So
is there something about Chinese society that makes kids more vulnerable than American teenagers, or would you say that the issues are comparable to the issues here in the States?
In China, there are two main reasons for this phenomena to be very extreme, so extreme. It's the one-child policy. Children are alone. They don't have siblings, and they are very lonely. And the second reason is a very strict competitive education system that they cannot cope with. So these are the reasons for, China for this, extreme phenomenon.
Here's part of the documentary Web Junkie. Wang Yuchao, a 16-year-old who was playing World of Warcraft 10 hours a day before his parents sent him to one of these 400 treatment centers. Speaking to his father in a counseling session, he said that his poor relationship with his parents was part of the reason that he gamed so much.
你觉得上网都是我一个人的错吗？在家里
He says, you think it's all my fault that I played online? At home, I feel I don't exist. I feel neither of you care about me on the internet. I have friends who care about me. Talk about the new solitude on the internet, losing the language of feelings. You know, emoticons are replacing letters, and text messaging and emails are essentially replacing the human voice.
Exactly. I mean, these are the reasons, that you just read. That made me to go on this journey. I think that technology became the architect of our intimacies. And we use emoticons instead letters. Our interpersonal relationship is totally changed. We write text messages, we write emails, we talk less. We are connected. We think that we are more connected, but I think that we are more lonely. And the human voice is, diminishing. I say it in a very extreme way, but we talk less with each other. The boy that you just mentioned, yes, in his case, the relationship between him and his parents were very complicated and very difficult. And as he expresses it, that they never, noticed him. We are talking of a boy that his parents belong to the new middle class of China that were not before. And this new middle class, their main value is to make money. I mean, making money these days in China is the highest value that you can see.
And it's leading to pretty serious, obviously serious problems. Here's another part of the documentary that you produced, Web Junkie. Many of the teenage patients that you speak to are tricked into going to militaristic internet addiction treatment centers. Here is one dressed all in camouflage, marching around the yard of the treatment center as part of their daily routine. Talk about the militaristic aspect of these treatment centers.
Yeah, so the children are tricked to come in by their parents. They are even also given sleeping pills. And when they woke up, they find themselves behind bars. The daily routine is waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, training, military, different kind of military, exercises in a very, very strict discipline. They have therapies, group therapies between themselves and between them and their parents. The center highly recommends parents to take part of the treatment because it's not only the child problem. This escapes, has reasons, and sometimes the reason is the family, the relationship in the family.
Well, and it's not just in China. I mean, you talk about Japan and Israel and many other countries seeing huge internet addiction rates.
Exactly. So just to finish, and then they have, lectures, brainwashing with lectures, and, some free time, but very little, that they can go outside and play basketball or to be in the room and, play some cards. And they are given some books to read that are recommended by their psychologist.
And so what sort of treatment success with all of this are you seeing?
Professor Tao claims for 70% of success. We couldn't verify it with another source, so we don't know. I mean, we have to believe it. It's very hard these days, to talk about success. I learned from Israeli psychiatrists that it's not, even if you call it an addiction, you don't treat it as, a regular, substance. It's not that you take away the heroin. Here, the computer or the smartphone, stays part of your life.
It's ubiquitous, yeah.
Yeah, so it's much more complicated to treat it. So the psychiatrists are facing really, a very difficult time with it.
Well, it's an incredible representation of the problems of internet addiction. Shosh Shram, thank you so much. The documentary is called Web Junkie. It's now airing on PBS. Shosh is co-director, writer, and producer.
The other director is Hila Medalia.
Well, thank you very much for sharing it with us. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let me bring in from Hartford, Connecticut,